Welcome, art enthusiasts and DIY daredevils, to an exciting journey into the world of resin art. This captivating art form allows you to create stunning pieces with depth and shine like no other medium. From abstract landscapes to detailed miniatures, the possibilities are endless. To embark on this creative adventure, you will need some key materials and tools including resin, hardener, pigments, and a few safety items. Ready to create a masterpiece? Let's dive into the materials and tools you will need. A successful resin art project starts with the right materials and tools. First up, we've got our resin and hardener, the two-part mixture that creates our art medium. Then there's the mixing cups and stir sticks for blending our resin and hardener. Don't forget the pigments to add color and sparkles for that extra shine. We'll also need a canvas or mold to pour our resin into. Lastly, we'll require a heat gun to remove any pesky air bubbles. With these tools at hand, we're ready to prioritize safety. Before we begin, let's talk safety. When it comes to creating resin art, safety isn't just a suggestion, it's a must. You see, resin can be a tricky substance, and it's essential to protect ourselves. Always wear gloves to avoid direct contact with skin. And remember, good ventilation is your friend. Working in a well-ventilated area keeps those fumes at bay. Also, don't forget to keep a fire extinguisher close just in case things heat up. Safety checked off, let's set up our workspace. A clean, organized workspace sets the stage for great art. Let's create the perfect environment for our resin masterpiece. Start by ensuring the area is clean and free from dust or dirt. Next, lay down some protective covering on the surface, perhaps a plastic sheet or old newspaper, to prevent any accidental resin spills. Keep your resin, hardener, and other materials neatly arranged and within easy reach. Remember, a well-organized workspace is key to a smooth, hassle-free resin art experience. Workspace ready. Now it's time to mix our resin. Now, the magic starts when we mix our resin and hardener. This is where the transformation from simple liquid to mesmerizing art begins. But it's not just about stirring these two components together. There's a bit of science involved here. Each brand of resin has a specific mixing ratio, and it's crucial to get it right. Too much hardener and your resin might cure too quickly or not at all. Too little and it might remain tacky forever. For our brand today, we're using a 1-to-1 ratio. That means equal parts of resin and hardener. Now comes the timing. Mixing needs to be done carefully and patiently. You'll want to stir slowly for around 3 to 5 minutes to ensure everything is combined without introducing too many air bubbles. So there you have it. You're now a certified mixologist, in the resin world, that is. Resin mixed. Let's add some color. Adding pigments and inclusions brings our resin to life. Imagine the resin as a blank canvas and the pigments as your palette of colors. You can add a few drops of pigment directly to the resin, stirring gently to create a marbled effect. Alternatively, mix the pigment in a separate container before adding it to the resin for a more uniform color. Now let's talk about inclusions. These are the little bits of magic that can transform your piece. Glitter, gold leaf, dried flowers, or even small stones can be added to give your work depth and character. But remember, less is often more. Too many inclusions can clutter your piece, so use them sparingly. Creating unique color combinations and effects is all about experimentation. Don't be afraid to mix different pigments or add unexpected inclusions. And remember, resin art isn't about perfection. It's about expressing yourself and having fun. Now that we've added color and sparkle, it's time to pour. Pouring the resin is where the real fun begins. This is the moment we've been building up to, where our creativity truly takes the wheel. It's time to let your imagination run wild and create something beautiful. Resin is a versatile medium that allows for a variety of artistic styles. Pouring it onto a canvas or mold is like writing a story. Every drop, every swirl, every color you choose adds a new chapter to your creation. The blank canvas is our page and the resin our words. Start by pouring your colored resin onto the canvas or into the mold. Don't rush this process. Take your time. Let the resin flow naturally. It's like pouring your heart into your art. Let it meander, let it spread, let it tell its own tale. Now here's where things get interesting. There are countless techniques you can use to create patterns and designs in your resin.
You can use tools like toothpicks or palette knives to manipulate the resin, creating swirls, waves, or marbling effects. Or you can simply tilt your canvas or mold, allowing gravity to do the work for you. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about what you think looks good. Your artistic intuition is your best guide. If you feel like adding more resin or introducing a new color, go for it. This is your masterpiece after all. However, keep in mind that resin is a time-sensitive medium. Once poured, you have a limited window to work with it before it starts to harden. So plan your design ahead of time and work efficiently, but don't let this pressure you. The beauty of resin art lies in its spontaneity and fluidity. Also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you're not happy with how your design is turning out, don't fret. You can always pour more resin over it and start again. After all, art is all about experimentation and learning. Artwork poured, but we're not done yet. Stay tuned as we venture into the next steps of our resin art journey.
Air bubbles, be gone. When your resin art is still in its liquid state, you might notice some pesky air bubbles. Don't fret though. A heat gun or a torch is your best friend here. Just gently pass the heat over your artwork, keeping the gun or torch moving at all times. The heat will coax those bubbles to rise to the surface and pop, leaving your resin crystal clear. Remember, patience is key. With the bubbles out, it's time to let our art cure and dry. Patience is key in the curing and drying process. This is the moment when the resin transforms from a liquid to a solid, encapsulating our creative efforts within its glossy surface. The curing time varies by brand, typically taking anywhere between 24 to 72 hours. During this time, it's essential to protect your artwork from dust and dirt. A clean, undisturbed spot is ideal. Remember, rushing the process can damage your artwork. Patience truly is a virtue here. Artwork cured and dried, let's demold and finish. Demolding is a delicate process, but don't worry, we've got this. Now, after all the patience and hard work, it's time to reveal the beauty that lies beneath. Removing the resin art from the mold is like unwrapping a present. It's a moment filled with anticipation and excitement, but it requires a gentle touch. If you've used a silicone mold, the process should be quite simple. Start from the edges, slowly peeling back the mold from the resin. Remember, haste makes waste, so take your time to prevent any accidental breaks or cracks. Now, onto the finishing touches that'll make your piece shine. Some pieces might require a bit of sanding to smooth out any rough edges. Use a fine grit sandpaper for this, and always sand in a well-ventilated area. Polishing is next. With a soft cloth and a bit of elbow grease, your piece will gleam. Lastly, consider adding a protective top coat for an extra layer of shine and durability. Masterpiece complete. Let's take a look at the final artwork. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Feast your eyes on this magnificent masterpiece of resin art. The vibrant colors, the intricate patterns, they all tell a story of patience, creativity, and a little bit of science. Remember, patience is key in resin art. It might take a few tries to perfect your technique, but don't be discouraged. Each piece is a learning experience. And one more tip, always document your process. It's great for reference. Isn't it stunning? But before we wrap up, thank you for joining this journey through the world of resin art. We've explored, learned, and created together. If you've enjoyed this adventure as much as I have, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel. Feel free to share this video with fellow DIY enthusiasts. Got queries or want to share your resin art experience? Drop a comment below. Remember, every artist was first an amateur, so keep practicing and keep creating. Until next time.